Hi everyone, welcome back to this series on project management. We're looking at the PMBOK guide, or the Project Management Body of Knowledge guide, and this is just a great way to get into that guide as opposed to reading the huge tome, the huge 800 pages that it is, and instead doing it through video and audio where you can do other things, or maybe you can exercise or work out while you're listening to this, those sorts of things. This is extremely handy. And what we've looked at previously is the environment that a project might have, and the types of environments and the types of projects that will happen and occur, the reasons for initiating those projects, and many other things in that lead up to the start of a project. But now we're looking at the role of a project manager, and this is so important because the project manager ultimately is the glue that gels everything together and helps deliver that business value through a project. In other words, the project manager plays a critical role in the leadership of a project team in order to achieve those project objectives. Directly from the PMBOK guide, that's exactly what they say there. So the project manager, the role also changes to fit an organization. There'll be many different project types and styles, many different organizational ways of working. And so this includes varying degrees of authority and responsibility depending on those organization types. We might have things like working before the project initiation, for example, tailoring those ideas to executives, coming up with a business case, for example, to help initiate that project and start with a project charter. And of course, after the project happens, we might be measuring those business benefits. So making sure that we'd actually delivered what we said we were going to deliver, and we got the business value that we said we were going to do. Now, this is before and after, not to mention all the things that go on during the execution and planning, monitoring and controlling of a project itself. Now, there's a great analogy that the PMBOK guide gives us, and that is to an orchestra. So for example, in an orchestra, your overall objective is to play a beautiful music or beautiful song. And same with a project. In fact, through that song, you're delivering value to your audience and to your customers. You're helping change their mood. You're making them melancholy or making them excited or happy, whatever that actually is, through your music. And likewise, you're delivering business value through a project. But you need someone to manage that entire orchestra and to manage that entire project team. So you're not going to do it all alone. You're not going to do it by yourself as the project manager. You're going to have team leaders for each different section, in the same way that you've got a trumpet section, you've got a saxophone section, and you've got the timpani or drums or percussion, all of those things, and then the actual instruments themselves playing that music, just like the team members within your project teams leading up to the project manager that's delivering your business value. So in other words, the project manager helps define those roles. For example, those team lead roles, the roles that you know that you will need to deliver that value within the project, securing those team members, helping fulfill those project objectives. And we do that through initially the project charter, which is a little document. It helps, it basically has the business case, it has the initial idea, the reason why we're starting the project, the initial stakeholders, initial risks, and maybe even a potential small amount of scope and a small flight plan idea, just very basic to kick off a project and initiate that project. Then we actually run the project through the project management plan, and this is the big meaty document with all of the stuff in it, and that gets baselined, so for a snapshot of a moment in time, and then it gets adjusted as it goes along. Maybe it's going better, maybe it's going worse, and we need to adjust that and see how things are going. Like the orchestra, a large project might have more than 100 project team members, and it's all led by the project manager. They need to coordinate that. And those team members may fulfill many different roles. As you know, in different industries, for example, IT, designing, developing, communications, maybe you've got testing, maybe you've got the integration of the environments, all of those things do need to be thought of and aligned when you're in the project manager role. So even though a project manager doesn't need all of that actual information themselves, they don't need to be able to play every single instrument. It does help to have a little bit of technical knowledge. For example, the conductor will need to know how to read music, and they'll need to know if someone's going too fast, too slow, or is in the right section or the wrong section at the time. So for that, they need a little bit of technical knowledge about the environment that they're in, whether it's IT, maybe it's in construction, maybe it's in automotive, whatever it is. But along with that technical knowledge, even though it doesn't have to be vast, but it does help to have a little bit at the very least, it's all tied together and managed through project management knowledge. So how are you going to manage all of those bits and pieces to get the desired business result that you want? And part of doing that is influencing, communicating, and managing, coordinating, and all of that. Basically what we would call leading and leadership as a project manager to help make those things happen. Sometimes you have to cajole people, into trying to do these things. Maybe it's not their usual job, but you do need them to get things done, even though you're not their usual manager. It can be very difficult, but these are the skills that you need for those reasons. The project manager is quite a different role to other functional managers. For example, you've got your functional manager. This is they provide oversight for a functional business unit. So just the usual BAU, business as usual, you would call it. An operations manager is responsible for ensuring that business operations are efficient. And you're seeing this more and more. Operations managers really are streamlining things and helping things run as best as they possibly can. Now that's in your business as usual sort of area, but the project manager, being on a project, we know that a project takes us from one state to another desired state, hopefully better, usually. But it's sometimes not always if a project fails, of course, right? So that project manager is basically assigned to lead that team responsible for delivering that change and that business value.